Howdy, folks, and welcome to episode 95. What does it take? What does it take is, well, the host, of course, and hopefully some of his co hosts will be arriving. Our newest member to the team, Hissy Cat, is not going to be on tonight. He is dealing with a head cold. Sorry you're feeling that way, buddy. Hope you get to feeling better. We'll see you next week, definitely. And then Todd has been sent to remedial school, so he learns how to better dress himself and better how to act on screen. Apparently, we had at least one person feel that people weren't properly dressed or acting correctly or some damn thing. I don't know. It was all in the last week's messages or comments in last week's show notes. I don't know what that guy was on about. Anyway, dude, if you're watching, this is who we are. If it's not for you, I apologize. But I got, on average, 12 to 15 people every week that dig it. So go find what you like to watch and watch it. You're not hurting my feelings, not. Reese is not going to be watching tonight. Not quite sure what he's probably doing. Something with the damn turkeys again. Who knows? Those turkeys. I don't know. And then we got Bunkhouse in the house. I made it for a show finally. Been way too long. I'm glad you're here, buddy. I'm glad you're here. I hope you're getting better. Knowing what you're going through. Charles is in the house. Evening, Charles. I hope it's a little bit warmer this week on your out there in San Diego. It is cold as balls here, and when I mean balls, I mean the iron style. Sitting out in this damned wind. It's about, well, right now it is let's see, it's 31 degrees Fahrenheit. For those that may be watching outside of the US that uses metric, that's about, well, right at 0 to -1 Celsius. So it cold. Original Grognard in the house. How you doing, Devin? Glad you can make the show. So glad everybody is doing well. And apparently I've got a super fan, Cindy. Hello. Hope you're doing well as well. So we're hopefully going to get McMurray on here in a little bit. He is dealing with some internet issues, and hopefully Jeffy will show up. He's probably watching a hockey game. As soon as that's over, he'll probably show up. And Warmutt, he had some doctor's appointments today. I hope things are going well for him. Earlier it was not going well for him, but hopefully now things are better. But a couple things I do want to cover, of course, as always. We're going to talk about Whiteley Games real quick. I haven't needed to cough all day. I get in front of the camera, start talking to you guys, I got a cough. I don't know. I'm allergic to you guys. No, I'm not. Anyway, Whiteley Games is got a 15% discount off everything in the store right now. So if you have not picked up the most recent release, which is the I think Codex Imperium or something like that. I don't remember what, but it's basically or Codex Grim Dark. Anyway, it is Wiley Games version of 40K. So they have, and by they I mean Marshall. Marshall has taken the time. Marshall is Jay's son. Marshall has taken the time and gone through all of the major um, troop types for all of the different races and have come up with the traits for them. So it's a really cool PDF. They're making changes to it and adding to it regularly. When they do make a change and post it, you'll get a notification that, hey, there's an update to this PDF. Come re-download it. The plan is after about 6 months or so, everything's really solid, and they're really not doing any more updates. They're going to go ahead and publish it in a hard copy, so you can actually buy the physical book also. So there is going to be plenty of 40K goodness there. Jay Wiley and Steve are actually looking to bring up a 10 or 15 millimeter 40K game at March to Victory. That is going to be massive. It's going to be really cool. I believe they're going to be using bigger battles for it. They're going to be using the Grim Dark Codex with Galactic Heroes. So, yeah, it should be really, really good. Really cool. So, yeah, 15% discount through tomorrow. So, great time to add some PDFs to your collection. Great time to add some hard copy books to your collection. Buy a t-shirt. Buy cards. I believe there's, all the books are on sale. I don't think the 15% goes off of the I don't think it goes off of the collections. So if you do a bundle, you're already getting a great discount on that. So I don't think you get the 15% off of that. I could be wrong. So we got Walkabout Games in the house saying hello all. Hello, Walkabout. Hope you're doing well up in the Great White North. Speaking of which, next Wednesday night, Thursday morning, we're supposed to get between 1 and 3 inches of snow. Not a fan. Don't like it. So can't wait for March for 2 reasons. A, it warms up. B, March to Victory. And that was my where I was headed next, March to Victory. You're going to hear about this every week until March happens. And what March to Victory is, if you don't know already, if you've been here for any more than one show, you know what March to Victory is. At the end of March, the last full weekend of March, there's a game convention in Blue Springs, Missouri, outside of the Kansas City metro, or in the Kansas City metro area. That is a great little convention. Last year was our first year. We've got a new one, the second one coming up this March. It's going to be great. The food's amazing, and it only costs you $20 to get in. If you show up at the door wanting to get in, it's $20. If you're smart, you'll go to marchtovictory.net, and when you go to marchtovictory.net, you will can get your tickets for $17. That gets you in for the weekend, plus gets you your name badge already printed. So when you roll up there, you can walk in and say, "Hello, Mrs. Arnold. I believe you have a name tag for me. Please and thank you," because you will be nice to her. If not, she'll kick your ass. Just leading with that. She doesn't take guff off nobody. She doesn't take crap off of me. That's for damn sure. Um, so that's what you want to do if you are gonna get the chance to be there. If not, and you still want to help with the funding of the program with the show. I'm sure it. I don't think it's been posted yet, but I'm almost positive that we're going to be seeing raffle tickets again, like last time. $3 gets you a chance to win some great stuff. So definitely do that. We're going to have, of course, I'll be there. Jay and Steve and Robin will be there. Like I said, my wife Donna is going to be helping out. Todd is supposed to be there. He's got it in the calendar. So, barring any nonsense from work, barring any nonsense that, like what McMurray's got to have to deal with, I still think we need to send in a sleeper agent to have the bride get COVID this time. Just saying. Priorities. And I believe Warmutt's supposed to be here as well. So if we could just convince, we can convince Mr. Jeffy to come on out. And Hizzy Cat wants to come, probably not this year, but hey, hopefully 2024 we can get everybody together and we can do a live show with everybody in the same room. That would be cool. So marchtovictory.net. Go grab your early tickets. $17 gets you in for the weekend. So with all of that said, I am very close to, and E4 Airman isn't here yet, or if he is, he has not made his announcement. But I've got, all of the British ships are complete. They are done, and I've got them magnetized in this little case. So there you go. Now, this one here, I did not make I didn't make the stick long enough, but I made it work. So I do apologize for that. But hey, it is what it is. I've got the Italians ready to go. I got to get their labels on and get their magnets put on there as well. And then I'm also going to. This is the case it's in. It's for my screen protector, but it's metal. It's a steel case, and I'm going to make a cover for the front and the back for it. So personalized for E4 Airmen. So, yeah, the shirt finally is on its way. It took me a while to remember. Oh shit! I got to order that thing. So I got it ordered. It's on its way. This is going to be going. So probably. Well, it depends on when the shirt gets here. When the shirt gets here, hopefully within like a day or so, I can get it turned around. So there you have it. Alrighty. So what does it take? What and what do I mean by what does it take? What does it take to make a good game? Doesn't matter whether it's a miniatures game, board game. What makes a good war game? So, with a good war game, obviously there's got to have conflict of some nature, and otherwise it wouldn't be a war game, right? So what along with the conflict is friction. You want to make sure that there is friction, and not just friction from your other player, especially if you're doing a solo game or you're playing a game solo. It's hard to have friction when you're playing yourself if there's not friction within the rules. And Chris Long says ease of understanding, and absolutely, you need to make sure that the game is the game is easy to understand. On top of that, like I said, you've got to have the friction built into the rules. What is going to keep you from doing everything you want to do? There are many games out there that I can do whatever I want to do, whenever I want to do it, however I want to do it, unless my opponent has done something directly to my units or something else. So how do we initiate that friction? A good example of in-game friction is Command and Color series. It's those cards. Why did Napoleon lose at Waterloo? He couldn't get a center command card for the life of him. That's a perfect example. I know there are people out there that hate that concept that I can't do what I want to do because I don't have the cards. Well, that's the friction. That's where the rules say, hey, you can't do everything you want to do when you want to do it. Now, that is a very drastic way of handling friction. Another way of handling friction, actually, Chain of Command has two different ways of handling friction within the rules. First off, of course, is the command dice. Same thing with What a Tanker. Both of them have the same mechanic, slightly different, but you roll dice to see what you can do. So in Chain of Command, it's you roll dice and you can add them up and whatnot. Hey, there he is. Mr. McMurray.
What's up?
You're back from the dead.
I'm still trying to figure out how to get my internet to work, but...
Okay, well, mine's crap. Yours is non-existent, so we're doing great.
Yeah, right. Amen, buddy.
So, what we've been talking... Go ahead.
It's like Google Home Jobby, right? That I'm trying to get to work.
Uh-huh.
Hang on. Let me show you guys. And it's supposed to be pulsing white. It was blue. Now it's red. This thing might blow up.
If it's red, I've seen this movie. It's going to transform and eat your face.
Good luck.
So
look at this turd.
Hey, it could be worse.
Turn white. Turn white.
So
Turn white.
I'm going to do the normal
white.
thing. You've turned it off and turned it on again.
Oh yeah, bunch of times.
You've unplugged it, plugged it back in.
Yep, that's the thing. There is no on-off button.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, on most of those little doohickeys, it's just unplug it, you plug it back in. Did it come with any kind of software or app you needed to download to be able to
the
set it
Google
up?
Home app. But the Google Home app is sitting in the stage where you wait for it to turn red or where you wait for it to pulse white.
Ah, okay.
Maybe it's updating or something. It's my brother's. I got it from my brother, and he and his wife haven't used it in a minute.
Yeah, it could be updating. It could be doing a firmware update.
Yeah, I just had to do that on my 3D printer, and it isn't. Or I still can't get any new files that I'm making to print out on my Mars. So I got that going for me. Yeah, I got the firmware updated, but I did notice that when I downloaded the new Chitta box, it had the little it's got the little arrow on the side of your build plate when you're planing. It had it flip, right? So it was on the short end, which I thought was kind of screwy. So I went in and I changed the dimensions such that it's now on the flat end where it used to be. But I don't know. I think what I might have to do is I might just have to add another Mars 2 Pro. You know what I mean? Add the factory setting on new Chitta box.
Right.
Because I don't know if something got screwed up. Something obviously changed in that in that transfer over because it rotated the build plate, which I don't know, man.
So
I fucking hate technology sometimes. I don't know what to tell you.
I understand. Charles is probably going to order the Tales of Horror card deck.
It's a cool deck.
It is. And the reason why he's bringing that up is because we led off with, hey, now until tomorrow, 15% off everything in the store.
Yeah.
So that's where he's leading with that. And then Walkabout says, if it takes 4 pages to understand shooting or moving, it's nuts. Agreed. What we're discussing is what makes a good war game.
Yep.
And I'm leading off with war games. You've got to have conflict, otherwise it's not a war game, and you have to have friction, in my opinion, to make it a good game. Because there are far too many games that just allow you to do what you want, when you want, how you want, unless your opponent puts some kind of restriction on you.
That's fair. So, yeah, absolutely. I think that you can certainly find games. You can like run into games where it seems like the friction might be almost overbuilt.
Right. And one of the ones that I brought up just before you popped on was Command and Colors.
Okay.
Now, don't get me wrong, I enjoy playing Command and Colors. And
I'm going to say, I thought you loved that game.
I do. And I don't find a problem with, the card draw thing. But, there is the meme of, why did Napoleon lose Waterloo? He couldn't get a center card for the life of him.
Oh, I gotcha.
And there are a lot of people that don't like that. They think it's too restrictive. And to me, it's just, you this is the same thing that a real general would have to deal with. Where am I going to be able to exploit, my breakthrough? Or where am I going to be? What is working? So that's where I'm going to push harder with. Because even if I don't have any cards that will allow me to do what I want to do, I can always do one thing and he's gone. Maybe you got it started again. Who knows? Anyway, but before he jumped on, I was going to make mention. Did it finally work? Did it finally turn on?
No, I'm not that intelligent of an individual, so I accidentally
you pressed the wrong button.
Leave on my phone. Yeah. Yep.
No worries. Yep. So I was also talking about how in Chain of Command and in What a Tanker, you've got 2 different ways of running friction. One is the command dice. Now they work differently in each game, but they essentially do the same thing. You roll your dice. In Chain of Command, it's you can activate teams, you can activate entire squads, you can activate your junior leader, you can activate your senior leader, etc. And so if you don't get the right rolls, you might not be able to do exactly what you want. The good thing with that, though, is I can add the dice together to get, a better result, a more useful result. So you got that going for you. The other thing is variable movement. I like variable movement in a miniatures game. And I think I might have talked about this previously on one of the other shows, is that I can look at a map and say, oh yeah, that's 500 yards, or 500 meters. I should be able to get across that in the time allotted in a turn. Well, that may or may not be so. That may or may not be true. Good example is actually my brother comes in with interesting decisions, and we'll talk about those here as well. But my brother commented that you can see on a map that it looks like it's just open cultivated fields. Well, those open cultivated fields might have every 500 meters or a kilometer, you've got a 4-foot berm you have to drive over. Well, and that's going to slow you down. It might look like 2 kilometers of open field, but you got 4 berms you got to climb over, and that's going to slow you down. So that's and the difference between dry ground and sodden ground because it's been raining or it's snow covered and it's starting to melt. There's all of these variable things that don't allow you to move as fast as you want to move when you need to move. So that's why I like
it's the difference between you should be able to move that far and you move that far, or you should be able to move that far and you can move that far, right?
Exactly.
That's always the kicker.
Oh, and Jay said you
should be able to move that far.
Yeah, but Jay said it was every 50 to 100 meters, not every 500 meters. So he was literally, when they were going cross country, when he was deployed, he'd be in his truck and they could cruise along for about 50, 100 meters at however fast you can get one of those damn trucks up to in 50 meters. But then you got to go up and over a berm, But,
Chris, you want to see something cool real quick?
You go ahead.
It needs a little bit of let me turn this around here again. It needs a little bit of TLC and finishing work, but
let's get you in big in here. Oh, very nice.
But there it is. So we're going to be playing. I need to get. You can see I hollowed it, but the hollowing. It originally is designed in 3 parts, each of which is hollow.
Right.
So I had to get creative trying to hollow it because the finished model is just those 3 parts crammed together without hollowing, like making it one big hollow or anything like that. Wow, the top of that turret looks like garbage, but there's actually not all that stuff you can't see. You can only see those rivets. But anyways, so you can see where I got those goofy little tiny holes. But anyways, so you can see where I'm having some trouble with alcohol and incredibly, I can't even smell the resin in there. But there's got to be some diluted resin or else that alcohol would have fully evaporated. But anyhow, that is, so we talked about Wiley stuff. This is all going to be played, or this thing, the E1000 or whatever, Rata, which uses a turret.
That Scharnhorst turret?
Yes, it's a turret that was intended to be put onto Scharnhorst or Gneisenau, I don't remember which one, during a refit. Right. And so again, the age-old question is, was this thing actually intended to exist? Or did some, Wehrmacht engineer just have a fun day with the blueprints one day?
Right.
But yeah, so it's essentially
we got a Scharnhorst turret just hanging around doing nothing, right?
Well, that's the thing is that this turret was sitting around doing nothing.
Yeah.
So these turrets on the rear are mouse turrets for this guy, of which 2 prototype hulls and 1 turret were built. Right.
Damn. And the Maz was not exactly a small tank.
No, it's an obnoxiously large tank. It weighs like, what, 80 tons or 90 tons or something I've seen like that.
It's something ridiculous.
It had to have snorkels built in because most bridges in Europe couldn't get close to handling it, which makes this thing a hilarious proposition. So you've got, like I said, is 2, you can see where the place of that 3rd gun was left out. You've got 2 11-inch guns, 2 mouse turrets, and then 3 or 4 Wirbelwind turrets. So those are the quad 20 millimeter flak turrets. But the
you were slightly off on the weight.
Oh, mouse was like
188 tons.
Oh,
so you're off by 108 tons.
The crack pipe my crack pipe was only mildly warm to the touch. The guy who designed this, his crack pipe was just searing hot. But so what we're going to do is run a Battlesuit Alpha game where this is essentially the only battlesuit, right? But then you've got these 4 British heavy tanks or heavy tank destroyers. So those are super light war guys. I don't remember what gun is on these things. Or is that the American guy? I don't know. It's been a long time since I designed this. I think that's a late British because it's not the T-28 Tortoise. And that's the American kind of version of this guy. But anyways, still working out rules for this guy. But then, so yeah, you'll have some British tanks. And then the cool thing about Battlesuit Alpha is you've got planes, tanks, the battlesuit guys, and then infantry. So I've got some infantry. The Germans are going to have Maus and then Rada and then infantry, right?
Yeah.
Because this thing is experimental. The Brits are going to be able to only use their wounds aren't going to be able to kill this thing. They're going to ping off inches of movement, or what was the other one? Or secondary weapons. And then once they've pinged off enough inches of movement, that's how they'll actually win the game, because then naval gunfire will come in and wreck this thing.
Right.
But yeah, so that's their while shooting. So it's not really a battle suit per se. I don't know. We're still working on it. But point is, use all the Wily games for your, hey, crossing obstacles. Use all the Wily games for your historical stuff, and don't let the fact that it's ridiculous let it go. I also minorly miscalculated the scale of this turret, so I might reprint this turret slightly larger. But that's always the thing with 3D printing, is you have to print the turret slightly smaller so that it'll actually fit in the hole it's supposed to go into.
Right.
The issue is this whole chassis is slightly under scale because I had to fit it into the print bed on my printer. And that's not, and I have, let's see here, what's something that is universal that people will recognize? There's an Avalon Hill D6.
Yeah.
It's not small. Like,
no.
Here's a quarter. It's the size of a 28 millimeter tank, but it's in 1/300. And like I said, this one's closer to 1/350th.
Yeah. So that would be like the scale of a 28 millimeter Panzer II.
Oh no, it's bigger than 28 mil Panzer II.
Oh, it is? Oh wow.
Hang on. Yeah, hang on. Let me grab. I should have some armor over here somewhere. Yeah. So here's a 28 millimeter Jagdpanzer IV.
Oh, okay.
So again, that's a Jagdpanzer IV, not a Hetzer, not a 38T. That's a Jagdpanzer IV.
In 28 millimeter.
This is 28. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
That thing's gargantuan.
Yeah. Yeah. Now I really want to print it out at 15 mil, except for in 15 mil, it like takes up a piece of paper, like a standard letter size piece of paper.
Yeah. Now, crossing obstacles has got a good point. Bananas are a pretty universal measurement.
Not this one, man. That's just depressing. I take that back. You know, the issue is crossing obstacles, that everybody's always about bananas, and you just got to understand what the average banana size is. And most bananas have really great personalities and know how to move.
There you go.
We're becoming less and less discreet about what we're actually talking about. Here's where I pulled that Sherman out of. That's one of my, you can see where I've got stuff basing ready for Rommel and then others.
Yeah.
Because I have problems. So of course in one scale I have to have 2 different basing schemes.
Of course you do.
For World War II. You know the really ridiculous thing? It's occurring to me as I'm talking about this. 6 mil isn't even the only scale in World War II that I have to have 2 different basing schemes for. Because I have 2 different basing methods for my 15s also. I have you know what I don't have? I have a problem.
You don't have what you don't have is a cure.
I have tried all the cowbell, my friend.
Well, when you come back and you can see your screen, I've got something to show you.
Yo, what's up?
So I got. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and.
I'm about to say, I'm going to kill my camera. You can unembiggen me now.
So I've got this case, right?
Protect on.
It's a steel case.
Okay. That's how you do it, buddy. That's how you do it. That right there, ladies, gentlemen, boys and girls, is the glory of subscale miniatures, baby.
Yep. These are, I'm going to make a cover for the front and the back, personalized for E4 Airmen. And of course, the Italians will be going in shortly. Got to get them finished up. Bless you.
Yeah, the pasta's not al dente yet.
There you go. I got his T-shirt on order. Hey, there he is. Yeah, hey, buddy. I got your T-shirt on order. It should be here in the next week or so. As soon as it gets here, this gets wrapped up in that shirt, and this gets sent off to the address you sent me. And then I will email you the Ocean Thunder rules and the ship charts for all, what is it, 10? Yeah, all 20 ships, 10 from each side, because you're getting a battleship and a battle cruiser, or 2 battleships on the Italians, 2 heavy cruisers, 2 light cruisers, and 4 destroyers. So there you go. And this magnet stuff is
pretty awesome as he shakes it off of there.
Yeah. But you get 2 sheets of this. I think it's 8 by 5, maybe a little bit bigger, from Walmart for like $4.
Yeah, that's what I usually. I mean, you guys just saw in that big case. Everything I do now, for the most part, is mounted on magnets, including my new project, which no one's going to see for a minute. But yeah,
it's just great. I've always liked magnetizing my stuff. So that being said, let's back to what makes a good war game. Now, Jay Wiley commented.
Oh, he's in here. Where's Wiley at?
On the Facebooks? Oh. On the Facebooks. Where did he put it? Right here. All right. He said. No, he didn't put it there. He must have put it on in my group. There we go. Let's see, tabletop. Well, I can't find where he wrote the comment, but basically he said, as a artist, a graphics designer, it's got to look good, and not only the book itself needs to look good, but if it's a miniatures game, the book needs to look good. Your miniatures need to look good. Your terrain needs to look good. For the scenery. It's a visual medium, if you will. Wargaming is a visual medium in art. And you can say that to, I don't want to say it's a lesser extent, but a different extent with hex and counter games. The counters need to look good and have all the appropriate information on them. The maps need to look good. There are some really, really good looking maps out there. There are some really, really crap looking maps out there. There's some really, really good counters. There's some really bad counters. let's see, crossing obstacle says here in the cold north, the learning driver sign you put on your car is a big magnet and used uh, one of those you can get basically for free. There you go. There you
Oh,
go.
that's awesome. They don't give those out here.
No. They, I mean, you could probably go steal one off of your local high school's student driver ed car, but then you'll have Big Murray going after you.
Jesus. You don't have to worry about that. You're going to have to worry about the danger that is student drivers driving around without anybody getting it.
Right. So, but yeah. So, if you watch my my series on, how to run a convention game, I talk about making sure the miniatures you're going to be playing with look good, making sure your terrain looks good. Put a little effort into it. You don't have to. It doesn't have to be amazingly great, awesome, stuff like you see on Wiley's table every time. But don't just cut out pieces of felt and call it good enough. Now, I'm not saying cutting out felt is bad, because I do that, but I add to it. I cut the felt out to be the boundary of the woods, and then put trees on there to say, okay, here are trees. But put some effort in it. Be like Warmutt. Go dig through your recyclables or your trash and find that TV dinner tray, or the box, the plastic throwaway box that your strawberries came in. Give them a good wash. Give them a prime. Boom, Bob's your uncle. You got a building there. It's
dude. That man knows how to build some terrain.
Yeah, he does. If y'all have not, I know a lot of y'all have, but if you're new to the channel, because we do have, I think, 277 or 278 subscribers now. We're getting closer. Folks. For those that may be watching new, head on over to Warmutt. Mini Warmutt's channel, and watch everything that he everything he produces content wise is great. His unboxings, God forbid we call it that, his
They're
paint
awesome.
jobs, his trash terrain buildups, everything he puts together is great stuff. Go check it out.
We're gonna stop calling it trash terrain and call it like terrain upcycles or something.
There you go.
Because
I'm good with that.
People get like 8 shades of butthurt about it. It's trash. Look at like, first off, shut up.
Yeah, second off, it looks freaking amazing.
Yeah. Oh, so, it's still pulsing red.
I don't know, dude.
I hate everything about technology, Chris. I know you're a big fan of it and whatnot, but
hey, I get it. It's not for everybody. I understand.
Maybe it is updating. What do you think?
My boss today was freaking out because his phone said SOS and he thought that his phone was calling SOS. No, it's just telling you that your particular carrier does not have a signal where you are, but you were still able to dial in the United States 911 for an emergency, because by law, any carrier that picks up a 911 signal must carry that call, even if it's not your service.
Accurate.
So he was freaking out. I was like, well, who do you got? AT&T. Okay. AT&T is, their towers are down here in Western Illinois right now. That's why everybody's complaining and griping and bitching about not having cell service. If you're with AT&T, it ain't going to work for you. So yeah, he's right there with you.
It's frustrating.
I get that. I totally understand. So, you gotta have some friction. You gotta have, it's gotta look good. My brother comes in with nice artwork as well. Nice artwork as well. Nice layout and logical progression trumps internal artwork, though.
I gotta find myself agreeing with your brother. Some of the favorite rules I've ever dealt with are essentially printed on printer paper, and there you go. It's nice when a game looks good, but not everybody's a graphic artist.
Right.
Like, again, I understand where Wiley's coming from, and I understand that's, you know, the life of Wiley is. I mean, he's a graphic artist and he's ridiculously good at it, but for those of us who are not as artistically inclined, it really doesn't matter to me as much.
You got to make sure that when you're reading the rules, it makes sense as to how they are being presented. And I think it's probably why I was having such a problem with The Civil War from GMT. Is for whatever it didn't seem like they were putting the cart before the horse in some cases. They would talk about something that instead of putting the rules in the order that you would come to them during a game, they were, I don't know exactly how to explain it, but there was a lot of page flipping that I felt was a little unnecessary. And it was making my brain hurt how
which game was that? Sorry.
The Civil War from GMT.
Oh, the U.S. Civil War, yeah.
Yeah, the U.S. Civil War. So yeah, I broke that down, and now I put up Nations at War. So we'll see how that goes. Most of the rules, I say most because there are some exceptions. Most of the rules from Lock and Load are pretty straightforward. They are in a well presented progression, I feel. Apparently, and I have not checked this myself, but from several other people that have played the game and have presented some feedback, is that the rules for V for Victory, the card game, is not the best. So it might look good. And what's been said is, I'm sure there's a good game in here somewhere if you could just straighten the rules out. And I think that's the case with a lot of games. A lot of games, there might be, some decent things in there, but if I got to dig for them real hard, I don't want to do that. First off, I hate reading game rules. I don't find reading rules fun in the slightest. I think that's probably why I like Wiley Games books so much, is they aren't written in the standard gameese, game speak. They're very conversational Jay uses a very conversational way of writing his rules, and I like that. So, what else is important in rules? If you're going to be dealing with a certain genre or a certain era, or in a board game, a specific battle, it's got to be, how do I want to, if you're going to be focused on something, be focused on it, but make sure, especially if it's a historical game, that the outcome is viable. And what I mean by that is I need to be able to historically viable outcomes in the games. So, for instance, if I'm playing a game that is for the Battle of Chickamauga, obviously the scenarios need to be written in a way that both sides could potentially win, but more than likely, whoever actually won that battle, you're probably going to lean a little more towards that in the rules, but don't overdo it. Don't make it just be +1 because you're Union, or if
I was about to say that's a really, really, really thin edge to walk on, dude.
And it is,
like
it is. But
that's
but I guess another point is a lot of times, especially with English rules writers, if they write something for the Napoleonic Wars, World War I, World War II, it always seems like they get a +1 for being British.
Dog, Battle Group. I hope Piers Brand watches this. Your tank stats suck. Like, I don't know what kind of, like, speaking of people whose crack pipe must be hot to the touch, like, these dickheads, the 17-pounder is somehow a better anti-tank asset than a 90 millimeter or anything that the Americans brought to the war.
Right.
It is head and shoulders somehow above, like drastically above a 76. Like, I feel like they took a 75, like a standard 75 on a Sherman, thought, yeah, that thing's garbage. We're going to give it really mediocre stats. And then like, oh, a 76, that's only one more than a 75. That thing's got to suck. And then that was the extent of their thing, other than, oh my God,
sweet 17-pounder.
Designed, sweet British designed Jesus in a 17-pounder. Here we go. No.
Yeah.
And there's just a ton of examples like that are just, no, you suck. Your historical research sucks. Your game is relatively confusing.
Oh, yeah.
Piers Brand, you suck. Warwick Kinraid, I'm sure, is a delightful person, but Piers Brand's also a dick on the internet, and that doesn't help anything. Apparently, orange means it's not connected to the internet, which is really frustrating, because when I take this Ethernet cable and plug it into my computer, it's connected to the fucking internet.
Who's to say? Bunkhouse says, I find rules to be superfluous. What matters to me is getting in games with people and having fun. That's what counts. And I agree with that, Bunkhouse. That being said, the rules that I bring to the table that I want to have fun with my friends need to be good rules, if that makes sense. And then he goes on to say, games that I can learn while trying to raise 4 kids, abstract minis, agnostic, skirmish game tend to be the best for that in my experience. Again, I think a lot of people, I recently have started spending a lot of time on Reddit. And a lot of people in the Wargaming sub Reddit have been asking, for skirmish games. So I think there is a huge uptick on people looking for, small model count, small footprint games that are quick and easy to learn. And of course, I've been flogging Fistful of Lead left and right because, well, that's what I do. There is a large contingent of gamers out there that are just like you, Bunkhouse. They're wanting something that is easy to get into, both rules load wise and miniatures load wise, and that's going to be fun.
You got to be fucking kidding me. Keep going. Sorry.
That's okay. Now, Jay, who is my brother Jay, who is has a degree in the classics, and was an editor on his college newspaper. I think he was an editor. I I don't think he was the editor, but he was one of the editors. Says Jay needs somebody with an editing background to edit and proofread his books. I'm not going to lie. I agree. He's he said it himself that he's not the best at proofreading. He does send out his books for proofreading and editing.
I was about to say the issue is like, yeah, no, I gotcha.
So, and then
He needs
plausible.
Todd to read all his
There you go.
because that dude,
Yeah, Todd's really good at it.
Toddy can do that stuff. Todd's obscenely good at it.
And Bunkhouse
All right, let's see.
wants you
So
to
here's
tell
the
us how
funny
you really feel.
So I have this Ethernet cable. Oh man, we're about to get just full blown rants. So this Ethernet cable is plugged into this little Google Wi-Fi dealy job, and that is pulsing that it does not have an internet connection. Let me plug the same Ethernet cable into my computer and see if I can get them internets. Let's see here. Ba, 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 da, 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 da. Battle Group has the makings to be a really cool game, Bunkhouse, Dougie, but it unfortunately is not, due to the fact that, yeah, it's one of those games where there's a ton of rules, that some of which work together, some of which don't, and they're not written in a manner that's conducive to learning or looking it up easily in gameplay. Also, they really jumped on the like 40K or, big game company sort of job with you have to buy their cards if you want to use tanks. Like you quite literally can't not use, like you can't use tanks in a game without their cards. You don't have any of the stats for like armaments. Also, they got really, really into the whole you have to buy a new book to play a setting or a scenario. And that's just not how it is, man. That sucks. It's a garbage way to run things.
Right.
But yeah, because they recently released a newer rule book, like a second edition rule book that I don't know if there's no. Oh, now there's no internet even from this stupid. Oh man. Yes, they're all big GW moves, 110%.
He says any move by a game company to act like GW is a bad move.
And that's exactly what all of this is. And now, nothing is going. Oh, there you go. Get in there. Start working. This is just delightful and quite frustrating. Okay. My little router or my modem says online and power. You do. Crossing obstacles. Where do you get the stats for your vehicles if you don't have the cards? Specifically, I think it's the gun stats that you have to have the cards for. Or at least the rule books that we had that we're trying to play with, you 110% could not.
I don't have a dog in the fight because I've never.
Well, I'm not.
Yeah.
It's just, it's one of those frustrating things because we absolutely tried playing it one time and were unable to. No. Okay, well, in that case, the book that we're sitting here playing with is not
complete.
Well, no, I don't know if we got a different version or what, because there's no.
Yeah. No stats.
Awesome. Now, even when I plug my computer in, it won't connect to the internet. Sweet. So I'm just going to blow up everything, I think.
Sounds
anyways,
good.
So hold on. Now I'm going to walk upstairs. I'm going to replug in my computer. Looks like all I'm going to do for tonight is sit on Chitterbox and make build plates and stuff.
Fair enough.
Let's see here. Let me plug this in, and then I'm going to grab my rule books.
Okay. So while you're looking for that, the thing that for me that gets me the other thing about rules and what gets me excited about backing a set of rules is the creator of the rules accessible. And I don't necessarily mean the actual writer of the rules, but is the publisher, the author, is somebody out there that is with the company, able to be communicated with. So in two of the cases with Wiley Games and with Ambush Alley Games, I know that I can go out into a public forum, whether it's Facebook or Twitter or Reddit or some place that they will have an official standing where I can reach out and expect a response in a somewhat timely manner, and it not be boilerplate garbage, So Jay Wiley is very active on the Facebook. Sean, when he was still actively producing content for the company, was very accessible through multiple different places. Hell, even Battle for the Gates of Antares, or Battle to the Gates of whatever. The Gates of Antares.
I don't know if there's a battle of or anything like that. I think it's just Gates of Antares.
I think the actual name of the game is Battle for the Gates of Antares. Anyway, that being said, Antares. Rick Priestley is out there. What is his name? John
Harrington?
No, not John. Not our John.
Tim Bancroft is out there.
Tim, that's it. Yeah, yeah. Tim Bancroft. So, both of them are very active, and even before it got spun off by Warlord, they were still out there in a non-official, official fashion, if that makes sense. They weren't officially Warlord Games representatives, but they were representatives of the game. And
correct.
Being the creator and of the rules themselves, and then being a creator of basically the entire lore. I hate the term fluff, but the entire lore of the universe, Tim Bancroft, you could reach out to him and he would respond to you, and that lends a great amount of weight to whether I'm going to like a game or not, especially in the miniatures world. Now, Hex Encounter games, I know there's a lot of folks out there that have connections to the creators of board games. Jeffy is one of those guys. He's got great connections to some of the great creators out there. But those games also tend to, if you can't necessarily get directly to an official person for the game, there are people that know those people that will, basically pick up and say, hey, this is actually what you're doing. I guess to an extent, you and I are like that for Wiley games. If we're hopping on the social media and answering questions.
Absolutely.
Bring up, and that's another thing that if not just the creator of the game or an official representative of the game is available, but there seems to be a good community that aren't a bunch of dickheads about it, then again, that leads credence to, hey, this is probably a good game. Crush Obstacle says there is one book that was divided into 2 books, and one of those books doesn't have all the stats, true, but only for that one book. So
yeah, might have that. I wonder if that's the book that we're both operating off of here.
Yeah, could be. Bunkhouse says Rick Priestley and Tim Bancroft are keeping Ataris up just through social media these days. I think Tim did work for Warlord Games until they killed official support for it. Yeah, so I've talked with Tim quite a bit. We actually on our previous show that McMurray and I were part of, we actually had Rick on the show.
I believe.
Oh yeah, we've had Tim a couple of times. I would love to reach out to Rick again and say, hey buddy, some Sunday afternoon, would you like Sunday evening for you, Sunday afternoon for us, would you mind hopping on with us and talk to our guys? So I think that'd be cool again, because he's a pretty cool cat. So but yeah, it's so if there's a good community and I can reach out to someone and get either an official response or a semi-official response from that community, and the community isn't just loaded with buttheads, that goes a long way also. That I can forgive a lot of transgressions on how a game looks visually if I know there's a good support structure out there. Now, if you can have all of that rolled together, you've got the rules that look good. You've got they're in a decent decent layout. So when you go through them, they make sense. They've got a good set of there's some friction there a little bit. There's a great community. Then you're hitting it out of the ballpark. And I, off the top of my brain, right now, I've got 4 examples, and all four of the examples, I think, I really like what they're doing. Of course, Wiley Games with Fistful of Lead, Two Fat Lardies with everything that they do.
Talk about accessible rules writers. Jesus.
Oh yeah, those guys are great.
It's not hard at all to get
Two Fat Lardies,
Rich Clark or Nick Skinner to answer a question for you. Half the time, I know that Rich Clark is renowned for people being able to just tweet at him. But then also, if you get on the if you get on any of their rules Facebook groups or on the Two Fat Lardies Facebook, it's not at all uncommon to see Lardy Rich or Lardy Nick answering questions rather quickly.
Oh yeah,
as well as obviously like Sydney Roundwood and the like.
Exactly. So then also Sean and Ambush Alley. Now he's taking a back step because of life, personal stuff happening. And then Tim and Rick with Gates of Antares. So right there, I've got four different companies with multiple titles each that I say that I can play everything I want to play with Fistful of Lead, but there are some times that I want to play Force on Force, or I want to play What a Tanker, because it just is all there already for me. I don't have to be as imaginative as I need to be for Fistful of Lead.
It's
go ahead.
One of the things that another company that I would like to add, just right off the top of my head, that I deal with all the time is Long Face Games, or anything by David Manley.
Right. Oh yeah.
If you've got a naval bent at all, he makes rules for you. They probably cost $5 to $7. And I have just messaged him directly on Facebook, and he's obnoxiously quick with responses, to be honest with you, despite the fact that he's, on the other side of the planet and whatnot.
Right.
But so that would be my hey, check this out too. Unfortunately, I haven't had a whole lot of time to play mini games, but his are always outstanding. Yeah. I find that a lot of smaller companies are like that. Some certainly aren't. Don't get me wrong. Some certainly aren't, but a lot very much are, which is really nice.
Yeah. And I think that's why I tend to go with, smaller independent creators. Because I like the fact that they're doing it for a passion. They're not doing it for a paycheck. And there's nothing wrong with getting paid for doing what you do. But I think in a lot of cases, the bigger named companies have, because it is their business, it's their life, it's how they live, and they have to support hundreds if not thousands of employees. They have to be this monolithic entity that has to do business the way they do business. And I'm not saying that that's wrong. It's just that's not for me. I'm not going to tell you that GW is a horrible company and you should never play any of their games or buy any of their figures. If that's what you want to do, then by all means, go ahead and do it. It's not for me. Personally, I think they are a horrible company, and I don't want to give them any money. So I think we all have done our fair share of flinging money at the 800-pound gorilla in the room.
Yeah, unfortunately, yes.
And we've even probably a lot of us have flung a crap ton of money at the 750-pound gorilla in the room.
All right, now you're gonna have to. You mean Warlord?
Oh no, Warlord's like the 600-pound gorilla. The 750 is the Battlefront, aka Gale Force 9.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they've quite sold their soul as badly as Warlord has at this point, but
no, not at all. No, but they've made changes to the rules.
Accurate,
but
that have completely ruined their games. I'm not disagreeing with you.
Yep, and they've made changes just to make changes.
That is also true.
So, I'm just looking through some of the messages. Crossing Obstacles says, I'm guessing you have the Market Garden book. I do agree that the rules require a really thorough read through. And he also says, I would say that the Lardy guides are accessible for questions, but I don't find their games good at all, mostly the way of the unit activation that I dislike. See, the thing with that Cross Obstacle is that they literally have a dozen different games that are played a dozen different ways. So
that's fair. Ooh.
And I can see where somebody, and I know quite a few people that don't like how activation works in What a Tanker or in Chain of Command.
I'm about to say, Wardrobe didn't like playing Chain of Command until we went through and hit. I'm not sure he ever, if he does enjoy it now, but I know that he certainly didn't when we started our John Blow Gap campaign.
Yeah.
Like he was, I'm not saying he was vehemently against Chain of Command, but it wasn't his favorite rule set by any stretch.
Sure. Right. Oh, and I get that. And it doesn't have to be. Just because I thoroughly enjoy a game system doesn't mean you have to.
Yeah, it just means you're wrong.
Now, I'm not going to say that. I just, if there's an individual out there that I want to game with and they don't like a particular game that I like, I hope that we can find something, something
that we
agreeable between the two of us. Yeah.
110%.
Bunkhouse says, you don't have to say that, not Jay. I'll say it enough for both of us. Referring back to Games Workshop.
There you go. And your brother is painting Games Workshop figures right now?
Yeah.
What?
Well, we've got a friend who has a crap ton of Games Workshop stuff. Excuse me. And he really likes Kill Team. So what we're going to do is we're going to play Fistful of Lead Galactic Heroes using the Grimdark Codex and play with the GW models. Now I'm going to use my Tau that I've owned for 20 damn years. So
no, I got you. It makes sense. It really does. I have an obscene number of Games Workshop models between Orcs, Guard, Space Marines. Yeah, no, I've got
Orcs, Space Marines, and Tau.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people started out with Games Workshop. I played 40K for probably a decade before I really jumped out into other stuff. Yeah. It's not. There's nothing intrinsically wrong with gamers doing it. It's just frustrating because it seems like a lot of people don't get exposed to other rules. Because honestly, if you don't know that something's out there, you're never gonna.
Exactly. Exactly.
It's not your
because a lot of game stores are heavy in Games Workshop because it's what sells.
It is. It's the, we call it the elephant in the room, but I mean it's the for a lot of people it is kind of the flagship gaming product, right? Like it's the how do I put this nicely?
It's the 800-pound gorilla in the room.
No, it's the most accessible and most visible. Jesus,
right.
Marion. Rule set that's out there, whether you like it or not. So it's not, people aren't wrong for playing it. They're certainly wrong for, enjoying it and encouraging others to play it. But
a good, we say Warlord is, one of the big companies, and don't get me wrong, it is, quote unquote, one of the big companies. But even when I go to Tabletop Game and Hobby and over in the KC Metro area, they literally have an entire aisle almost of just Games Workshop stuff. And then they've got like a section, a 4 to 8 foot section of Warlord games. So they literally have like 8 times the amount of Games Workshop stuff that Warlord does.
Absolutely. So, and again, you can't
it literally is the, it literally is the big dog on the street. As Jay says, stares at GW figures he's currently painting. E4 Airman says he enjoys Sharp's Practice, small units.
Correct. Yep. It's a good game. That's far closer to the I Ain't Been Shot Mum style of activation with big men. Than the chain of command type stuff. I know some people don't like chain of command with the variable activation. Like that's the thing with I Ain't Been Shot Mum is that it's a variable kind of order of activation. Yeah. Right. But once a unit activates it its capabilities are very similar to anything else.
Right.
Anyhow.
So
I like most of the stuff they put out. To say the least. But yes.
So it's there are so many different things that makes for a good worker, and I wish that Toddy was here. I wish that Jeffy was here because both of them could lend a word in towards the Hex and Counter side of the world. So
with regards to what?
Just for their opinion of what makes a good game on the board game side, the Hex and Counter side. Not that you couldn't answer that question for yourself, but I kind of want to hear what they had to say.
No, I got you.
For them, because I personally, for me, it's a lot of the same thing. The components have to look good. I know going in that if I pull a game out of the 1980s, the counters aren't going to look spectacular, but as long as they're clean and I know what they're supposed to be and they've got the numbers that I need to have, I'm okay with that. I mean, there's a huge difference between where are you? There you are. There's a huge difference between what we have here.
E4, are you talking about the like Undaunted series, like Undaunted, Stalingrad, whatnot? Because I haven't played that, unfortunately, my man.
No, I love Undaunted. Our buddy Eric came out one Sunday afternoon, and we played Undaunted with him. Jay and I did, and it's a fun game. I'm not gonna lie, I like it. I don't like it enough to spend what is $110, $120 for the Stalingrad title, but it's fun enough to spend $40 on the Normandy title.
I didn't realize the Stalingrad one was that expensive.
Well, it's like 2 or 3 times, or 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, and that makes sense.
Stuff that you're getting in the both the desert campaign box and the Normandy box.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Not Bunkhouse, sorry. Cross Obstacles said, me and two friends used to run both 40K and fantasy tournaments, 150 plus people. Wow, that's big. And used to play against the Swedish 40K national team on a regular basis. That's cool. And again, if it gets you on the table and gets you to, socially interact, again, that's a big part of gaming for me also. He says, best game I played in 40K was against the French national team. He tabled me in like 45 minutes. It was amazing. I've been tabled many times. I'm not going to lie. Some have been amazing games because of my opponent and not because of the game. And some have been the worst games I've ever experienced. Again, because of my opponent and not the rules. So that's that goes a long way as well. Let's see. He liked it. Jay says it's great fun. So I looked at buying the Stalingrad one today, but then I saw the price. Yeah, it is. It is steep. Undaunted Stalingrad. Oh, Amazon, you can get it for $103.90.
Just $103.90, huh?
Yeah. You can get what is this? Undaunted Battle of Britain game. Oh, this is something new. This is Undaunted, but with Messerschmitts and Spitfires. Ooh, that'd be interesting. He says, I would say that opponent is sometimes more important than the game and the rules. I do agree with that. And again, it's if the rules are crap, but my opponent is good, and not just good at the game, but he's fun to be with, or she is fun to be with. Either way, whatever. Then that does completely overstep the idea of rules. And one of my closest friends became one of my closest friends. I went from not knowing him at all to being, close friends in the course of about 9 weeks, because we played 40K against each other at tournaments, and we would always end up playing the last 2 games of the tournament against each other because we both suck so bad. So yeah, agreed. Totally agree. Your opponent is a component of how good a game is.
Look at you rhyming over here.
I'm a poet, didn't know it. It says, Eric ordered it from Titan Games, broski. Which Stalingrad or Battle of Britain? And it says, buy it from an FLGS, you mutants. Yes, absolutely. If you can get it, spend the extra little money that you're going to spend at your FLGS. You're doing 2 things. One, you're supporting your local game store, keeping it open so people can go in and buy from them, and gives a lot of people a place to play. 2, it supports your community with the sales tax. Nobody likes paying taxes, but it's do it that way. So, Charles, it's on Amazon, but like I said, I mean, I know a lot of game stores will sell their stuff anywhere 10 to 15, sometimes 20% off of the suggested price. So there you go. I was going to make a comparison of components. So this is what we're used to seeing these days. Um, and this is from Nations at War. This is their counter for
got a lot
Martyr
of
2.
stuff on that counter.
There is a lot of information. It's also that's why it's so damn big. So we've of course what we got here is we've got the name of we got the name of the unit. We've got some armor statistics or gun statistics and armor statistics and how fast they move, et cetera, and so forth, right? So there's a lot of information there. Good information, and it's a good looking. It's good looking. It's got a picture of the martyr there, even though it's really small. I mean, you look at it, you can tell that that's a martyr 2, right? So this is current style of counter you're going to get in a hex encounter game. I know that you're not going to get the same quality of design that you're going to get from a game from 1985, but you can still have a good amount of information and still look good. And that's what you got right here. This is from. Honestly,
you're not getting as good of a game as you got in 1985 either, though. So
true. So what you have here is from what the hell is this called? Assault. No, this is GDW Assault from 1985. Even though it tells me it's a T64 here, I might not have been able to tell that that's a T64 just by looking at the silhouette, but I can tell it's a Soviet tank. It gives me the proper information that I need to play the game. It's for the time. This is probably one of the better counters that was out there. So I'm okay with this. This doesn't bother me. I know going in that I'm going to pull a game from 1985, and this is the quality that I'm going to be expecting. They're not much better in that time frame. So just understanding board game wise that you've got those different aspects. So it's do with it what you will. I know a 1985 game is not going to look as good, but I've seen really, really bad ones from that time frame also. I mean, some garbage maps and some garbage counters. So, Charles says, don't any of our FLGS are going to carry this or any war games. You might be surprised. And then Obstacle says FLGS is 200 kilometers. Is 200 kilometers away, a bit far to buy a game. And I understand that. We are an hour and a half drive from our local game store. Luckily, we can get. I can get. If I'm going to Springfield, I can hit up Titan. If I'm heading to St. Louis, there's a plethora of game stores to hit up. 3, 4 right off the top of my brain. You've got Game Night, you've got both miniature markets, and you've got Fantasy Books and Games over in not O'Fallon, Illinois, but whatever that town
Fairview
is.
Heights.
That's it, Fairview Heights. Speaking of which, Jay and I are looking to bring Fistful of Lead and Grimdark Codex to Fairview Heights to run a game to play with one of Jay's buddies, Dan Gomez. He's really big, 40K guy there at the FLGS there in Fairview Heights, and we want to bring him over to the side of light. So we're gonna see if we can't figure out a time that works for you also, McMurray, for you to come over.
Yeah, man, absolutely. They just had they play on Big Money plays there every Wednesday.
Yeah. They had a what did they play? Oh crap! What did they play?
Played Wings of War today or yesterday. Today
was it
that was Miniature Market. They played Miniature Market at Wings of War at Miniature Market today. I don't know what was over at Fantasy Games yesterday.
I'm drawing a blank. It was like, oh, that's cool. That'd be neat to play. But I living an hour and a half away. Plus, was it yesterday or was it today? That was the semi-retired, whatever the hell it's called.
That's Thursday. That was today.
Yeah.
That was
being that I lived the Wings of War.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Being that I live 2 hours away from that store, it was kind of difficult to be there, especially since it was at
absolutely 11 o'clock in the morning.
11 o'clock in the morning. So, thanks for dropping in, Crossing Obstacles. Take care, man.
Be good, buddy.
Be well. Have fun with. Again, I don't know how far north you are in Sweden, but you're probably damn close to only having like an hour or two of daylight right now. I don't know. I was actually talking to my coworker today. It's like, whose bright idea was it to leave Africa and continue to travel north until you couldn't see your hand in front of your face because it was too damn dark at 3 o'clock in the afternoon?
I feel like when they were doing it, their watch wasn't quite particular enough to tell them that it was 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and that's probably why.
But they could figure out that, hey, there's like no daylight for like 3 months.
Maybe they just really liked it dark, dude.
I guess. Dark and cold. Well,
hey, man.
I'm not hip on cold. I don't like cold weather. Miserable. But, oh well. We're not here to talk about my weather proclivities.
It happens.
No.
It happens.
What else? Anything else that you would add to what makes a good game? I think ultimately what makes the best game is a good opponent.
That's what I'm saying. It's playing with people that don't suck.
Yeah, exactly.
However, that manifests itself for you. I've had some great times playing garbage games because I was playing with somebody who enjoyed it, right? Or that I enjoy playing with. So I'm not sure that we need to focus necessarily so much on, I don't know. Find good people, find games that you like. If you like playing it and you like the people you're playing with, you're probably going to have a good time. And that's pretty awesome. If you don't, change one or both of those things. See if that helps.
Exactly.
But yeah, man. Yeah. I don't know. If you're not having fun wargaming, then change something.
Yeah. My brother's tagline, I think, says it perfectly. If the wargaming you're having isn't any fun, you make it fun.
Yeah. You're kind of just, unfortunately, doing it wrong at that. Like, something is wrong if you're not having fun. I'm not saying you're doing it wrong, but something is wrong.
Right. There's something amiss, whether it's the people you're playing with, the rules you're using, the consistency to which you are playing, and by that
because
I mean
at that point in time, why play?
Yeah.
You're not. you're not doing yourself any favors. You're not helping anybody else. If everybody's miserable, there's not a whole lot of point in playing. Sometimes it's rather unavoidable, but not usually.
Right. Exactly.
Like sometimes you play games with wardrobe, and that just sucks, and you hate it, and you've got to keep going.
Would you stop? He's not here to defend himself.
You gotta, play games with. Well, you never have to play games with hex to hex, but sometimes you get stuck playing games with hex to hex.
Yeah, and then you have a raccoon jump out of a box.
Yeah, was he playing for that?
I think he was in on that one.
Oh, geez.
I think that was his first game.
Oh God, no wonder he hates miniatures, dog.
Right? Hey, at least it wasn't a werewolf charging the train or whatever the hell it was.
Oh, I had a great time playing that. If you're playing a game with Warmutt, you're going to have a good time.
Yeah, you are. To be perfectly honest, you are.
You are.
Crossing says,
what's up?
Crossing says they're getting like 4 hours of daylight right now.
Nice.
Oh.
That's awesome. Yeah, but then the flip side is like in July, the sun never goes down. So It's like the exact opposite of like seasonal affective disorder. I would assume in the sun, in the summertime, you just cannot stop smiling.
I would be that way. Absolutely.
Or at least that's what we're going to go after, because I really hope Crossing Obstacles is having a good time.
Well, if their far north is like our far north, then their mosquitoes are going to be like the size of sparrows.
Yeah, but then you can shoot them with a shotgun.
Yeah, the squirrels bring out their 40 millimeter anti-aircraft.
They are the inventors. I mean, the Swedes. That's where Bofors is from, man. Like Bofors is based in Sweden.
Yeah,
it's all about killing mosquitoes, dog.
Mosquitoes, absolutely. Bunkhouse says I've got like 1.5 good people to play with locally, and they are both a 45-minute drive away. I get that, man. I get that. I've got my brother like 3 minutes away.
I was about to say Chris has to drive under 5 minutes or an hour and a half.
Exactly. So I mean, it's ridiculous. In fact, we were going to be playing this weekend, but turns out probably not at this point with the rampant illnesses running around,
oh no! Which one of you goobers is sick now?
Joey had influenza A.
Oh dang!
Yeah.
I hope the little dude's doing better. That sucks.
Yeah, he's doing okay. So Tuesday night was the elementary school, middle school, holiday Christmas concert, and
that's why we're here Thursday.
Yeah, so he was in the choir and did a great job. Had the solo and did an amazing job. He is a great little dude. Love him to death. And we didn't know. Nope. Jay didn't know. Beth didn't know. None of us knew that he was going to be pulling off that solo, and he did a great job. And then last night was the high school, and Caroline's in my niece. She's in the choir there also. So that's why we're here tonight. We will next week. We will be back to regularly scheduled shenanigans. So, I just make. Mike says I did just make an order of the Wiley Games web store. Looking at the Battlesuit Alpha PDF now. That's a great. That's Battlesuit Alpha is probably my second favorite rule set.
Oh, that's a tall order.
Yeah. It's my second favorite because, number one is Galactic Heroes.
Well, obviously.
And then number two was Starfighters. But I think Battlesuit Alpha has bumped Starfighters a little bit.
Well, Starfighters is in Galactic Heroes too.
If you get the combined.
Oh, is it if you
Yeah.
get the Heroes of the Universe or whatever?
Yeah. So if you
Oh,
get
I thought it was just built into it. Okay.
no, it's only in the Savior of the Universe Collector's Edition.
Oh, okay. Well, you should grab that. It's good. Dude,
Yeah.
honestly, that book is awesome. And then it's also super worth it because you get so much extra stuff in there.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
But Starfighters is outstanding.
Yeah.
Starfighters would make my list despite the fact that I really don't like space combat.
Well, that's why I'm making a Vietnam War overlay for it.
I mean, that's why I made a whatchamacallit, the Victorian sci-fi stuff for it. Like,
Exactly.
That's the whole point.
Exactly.
You do that. We still need to just sit down and bang out stat sheets for gunboats, like for like World War One era riverine combat or anything like that. But yeah.
Charles says I'm stuck with my opponent, me.
Yeah, man, I'm stuck. That's how I am with hex and counter stuff, Charles. And that guy's a dick.
Yeah, have you met him?
I've lived with him most of my life, unfortunately, and he's not gotten any better.
So, and then he says you move north to find water, food, shelter, and not have your neighboring tribe try to imprison you. Fair enough.
Is that Charles or crossing obstacles?
Charles.
Okay. So. Charles, it's rough out there in California, my man.
I know it is.
You gotta be careful, water. Dude. That sounds terrible.
So last weekend, or this past weekend, we went to Kansas City for our annual family Christmas party, and my grandson was my secret Santa, and this is what he pops me with.
What is that?
1/12 scale Boba Fett.
Oh dang! Somebody's got the number.
Yep. Oh, they know. They know if it's Star Wars, it's a done deal. So I'm gonna have to figure out. I gotta put this thing together. It's like an actual model kit and everything.
Yeah, it's 1/12 scale, dude. That's gonna be awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, it doesn't look like it's going to be too difficult. It's got a couple of different sets of what do you call those things? Decals, or as the Brits call decals.
Decals?
Decals, yeah.
Do it like Ricky from Trailer Park Boys, sweet decals.
Yeah, people that say decals are the same type of people that say turret.
Turret?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
It just unnerves me to no end.
Well, that'll happen. We're not here to nerve you, Chris. We're here to unnerve you.
Exactly. So next week, like I said, we're going to be back on our Wednesday schedule. You're back to work? Yes? No?
It should be around for at least the start of the show.
Okay, good. I'm hoping that Hissy Cat's feeling better. Like I said at the beginning of the show, he's out tonight because he's got a really bad head cold.
Ooh, that's not good.
Yeah, and hopefully we can get everybody else on here as well, because next week I'm wanting to do a year in review, kind of talk about what we did, what we didn't do, what we liked, what we didn't like.
Nice.
And then the week between Christmas and New Year's, we will have a show, and that's going to be what we've got expected for 2023. What we want to accomplish and what we want to do. So hopefully we can have the whole crew, as much of the crew as possible, on both of those nights. And maybe by the last show of the year, E4 Airman will have his drawing prize. I know it's taken like 6 months to do it. I apologize. A, I'm not a very fast painter. B, it takes a lot of effort for me to paint, just because it's not something I enjoy. I enjoy the product that comes out because I think it looks really good. I like it, but it just the process. I'm not a process guy. And that's the way I am with gaming. Also, I'm not a process gamer. I'm an outcome gamer.
It happens, dude.
So, but I know in some cases you gotta work the process. So, anyway, I think we'll go ahead and wrap it for tonight. Thanks everybody for showing up. Bunkhouse, Charles, E4, Crossing, my brother Jay. Like I said, E4, Airman,
everybody,
Chris Long, he was here. So yeah, and thank you, McMurray, for dropping in and saying hi.
As always, yeah, big ups to everybody who's watching, who will catch it on the flip tomorrow.
Yep.
You know, we got John, he'll be rolling through, I'm sure. Paulie, we'll see you soon. And it's a great time.
Yep.
Appreciate everybody coming in and watching and staying and commenting and saying hi and everything.
So, and until next time, we'll see you on the flip side.